Shabbos Kodesh, and our Amud for today is for the 20th day of Chodesh Shvat, where we are learning Maseches Pesachim Daf Kuf Beis Amud Beis. We're going to just start from a couple lines up from the bottom of Kuf Beis Amud Aleph, just to jump back into the sugya. 5 lines up from the bottom of the Amud on Kuf Beis Amud Aleph, says the Gemara 3 words from the end of the line. Tana Rabbanan. Brisa tells us as follows: you have a group of friends that were all eating together. And all of a sudden, it's about to be Shabbos. You bring the balabais kos shel yain, and he's going to say kiddush on it. And then a second cup that he is going to then bench on. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. This is the approach of Rabbi Yehuda, as we saw yesterday. Rabbi Yossi tells us, no worries, eat and drink until it gets dark. You don't have to interrupt your meal. Keep on going as you wish. Gomrai, turning over to Kuf Beis Amud Aleph, Amud Beis. Gomrai, once he finishes the meal, Kos Rishon Mevarach Alav Birkas Hamazon. The first kos is going to make a bracha. He's going to say Birkas Hamazon. V'asheni, and the second kos, the second cup, he is going to say Kiddush on it. Then the Gemara asks the following question: according to the Shita of Rabbi Yossi, why does he bench and then say Kiddush on 2 separate cups? He can say Kiddush and Birkas Hamazon, and then Kiddush on the same cup. The Rashbam points out here that this is only a kasha according to Rabbi Yossi. According to Rabbi Yehuda, such a kasha doesn't exist, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, you have to finish the meal, you bench. Once you bench, excellent, you're going to then clear up all the tables. And then you bring out another cup, you're going to say Kiddush. There's going to be too much of a hefsek in between those 2 things, meaning you end the meal completely, and then you start the next meal. But according to Rabbi Yossi, where you are finishing your meal, you're benching and saying Kiddush, why not say it all in 1 cup? Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav Sheshes, says Rav Huna in the name of Rav Sheshes, Ein omrim shtei kedushas al kos echad. We don't say 2 kedushas, meaning 2 brachas, on 1 kos. My timer, what's the reason that we don't do this? Amar of Nachman Yitzchak says of Nachman Yitzchak Levi she'ein osim mitzvahs chavilos, so that we don't end up doing mitzvahs in bundles. We don't do mitzvahs in bundles. Rashi and the Rashbam both point out that the rationale behind saying we don't do mitzvahs in bundles is we don't want to make it look like the mitzvahs are too much of a burden for us. We're looking for discounts. We're trying to get by on a freebie here. If I can bundle Kiddush and Birkas Hamazon, excellent. I don't have to spend my money on doing Hashem's mitzvahs. Chas v'shalom. But in order to show the chavivus of the mitzvah, how much we appreciate the mitzvah, how dear the mitzvah is, we don't bundle mitzvahs together. Says the Gemara, hold on a second. Is that really true? V'loi. Is that not true, that we don't bundle mitzvahs together? V'ha Tanya, didn't we learn in a brayso hanichlas the base of Maseches Shabbos? A person comes home, it's Maseches Shabbos. Mevarech al hayayin. He is mevarech al hayayin ve'al hama'ar, and then on the candle, ve'al habasamim, and the spices, ve'achar kach omer havdalah al, and then he says havdalah on that same cup. Meaning, at havdalah every Maseches Shabbos, we say a bracha al hayayin, and then al hama'ar for bari mareish, and then al habasamim, although we say it the opposite way, basamim first, and then eish. And then we say Havdalah on the cup, on that same cup we say Bar Begofen. And if you only have 1 cup, minichai, put that aside, la'achar hamazon, until after your meal. Umesharashtam kulam la'acharav. Then once you finish your Malava Malka, then you're going to bench on that cup, which clearly indicates that we do say Birkas Hamazon and Havdalah on the same cup, that's not a problem. Says the Gemara, but there's a clause that you missed out there, and that is im ein lo, if you only have 1 cup. Ein lo shani, says the Gemara. When you don't have more than 1 cup, you only have a revius of wine, so that's different. Of course, if you only have 1 cup of wine, keep that cup of wine to be able to have both Havdalah and benching on that cup of wine. Says the Gemara, okay, that's in the case of ein lo. But with regards to Yom Tov that falls out after Shabbos, meaning Yom Tov that rolls into Shabbos, which is either in Eretz Yisrael, that would be a Yom Tov that falls out on a Friday, going into Shabbos, that would not be that would not be Rosh Hashanah or Pesach, because we have the rules of Lo Adu Rosh and Lo Badu Pesach, meaning the first day of Pesach is never going to be on a Friday, and the first day of Rosh Hashanah is never going to be on a Friday. So Lo Adu Rosh and Lo Badu Pesach. But in Chutz La'aretz, this happens all the time, and Rosh Hashanah could happen if a Rosh Hashanah would be Thursday. Would be wrong way around. Right? Lo Adu Rosh Hashanah could not fall out following Shabbos. Pesach could. Right? Pesach certainly could. So you could end up with a Pesach that goes into Shabbos, like Pesach that falls on Shabbos that falls on Erev Pesach. Yontif that follows after Shabbos, Isle. You do have such a thing. We do have such a thing that we are going to be bundling the Kiddush and the Havdalah together. Va'amar Rav, because Rav said in such a case, Yak na means Yain, then Kiddush, then Ner, then Havdalah. And you make that all on one cup. You make that all in one cup. That's how you're going to do it. Amri. So let's explain here. Mideloi Amar Zman, since he didn't add in Zman, meaning he didn't say Shechianu, which we'll see a little bit later, that's Yakne Haz, the additional bracha of Zman. Mideloi Amar Zman, Michlal de Shvi Shel Pesach Haskina. It would sound like what Rav is talking about here is only on the 7th day of Pesach. That is the only Yom Tov that doesn't get a Shechianu. The only Yom Tov that doesn't get its own Shechianu is Shvi Shel Pesach, because Shmini Atzeres Simchas Torah gets its own Shechianu because it is a regal b'fnei atzma. It's its own Yom Tov to a certain extent. So it must be, since he isn't including Zman, that this is we're only talking about Shvi Shel Pesach. Because he's eaten everything that he has. It's the end of Yom Tov. Velese, and he doesn't have anything more to make Kiddush on, meaning to make Kiddush Havdalah. Says the Gemara, hold on a second. But Yom Tov Rishon D'Islay, but Yom Tov Rishon, where he does have for sure, the beginning of Pesach, for sure he's got plenty one. Amar Abaye says, Yak ze na, meaning Yain, Kiddush, Zman, Ner, Havdalah, and you make it all on one kos. V'Rava Aman Rava says, Yak ne haz. We're going to do Yain, and then Kiddush, and then Ner, and then Havdalah, and then Shechianu, and that is all on one cup. Says the Gemara, different. El Havdalah v'Kiddush chad milsehi. Havdalah and Kiddush are really the same thing. Birkas Hamazon v'Kiddush, benching and Kiddush is treit mileninu. These are two completely separate things. What do you mean that Kiddush and Havdalah are exactly the same thing? Says Rashi, if you take a look at Rashi, not the Rashbam, Rashi explains that the Revai Mishum Kedushas Yom Tov. Rashbam is going to say the same thing, but Rashi said it first. The Revai Mishum Kedushas Yom Tov, because both of them are because of Kedushas Yom Tov. How do you have Havdalah and Kiddush both being Kedushas Yom Tov? Uve Havdalah atzmahu maskir Kedushas Yom Tov, because in Havdalah, what do you say? The Hamavdil ben Kodesh leKodesh Kamavarich, because the Havdalah at the end of Shabbos that goes into Yom Tov is also the mitzvah of Kiddush, because you're saying Hamavdil ben Kodesh leKodesh. So that means that it's all part of the same mitzvah. It's Kiddush and Havdalah are one and the same thing. You are separating between the Kedusha of Shabbos and the Kedusha of Yom Tov, but what you are doing is indicating the Kedusha of Yom Tov, and therefore it is the same mitzvah. And it's interesting to point out that the Rambam holds that Kiddush and Havdalah of Shabbos is one mitzvah. Meaning the Kiddush that you said at the beginning of Shabbos and the Havdalah that you said at the end of Shabbos is to make the entrance and the exit of Shabbos part of the mitzvah of Zachar Shem Shabbos L'Kacha. But what Rashi is pointing out here is that Kiddush and Havdalah at the end of Shabbos, the beginning of Yom Tov, is one in the same thing. Some of the Rishonim point out that there's something additional to note, and that is that you cannot have Kiddush of Yom Tov before the Havdalah of Shabbos, meaning they have to go together. They happen at the same moment. That the beginning of Yom Tov is the end of Shabbos. They go one in the same, because Yom Tov comes right after Shabbos. So you have Shabbos that rolls right into Yom Tov, so the Kiddush and Havdalah are really marking the same moment in time. But benching and Kiddush would be two different things. And Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, we'll continue with the Gufa, where we are going to discuss the order of Yain, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah, and Zman, how all the different shittas of the Tanam and Amoraim hold, and how we pass Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach with all of the dinim bisman hazeh. So far, we have seen that we have two shittas that we've discussed now. Abaye is saying yak ze na, and Rav is saying yak ne haz. Now, you'll remember that we paskin like Rava Yak Nahaz, but we will see that there are many different shittas. We saw before that Rava told us without Zman that you're going to say Yak Na, but it's a question of exactly where Zman will go in that discussion on the Rav. And looking forward, B'ez Hashem, to discussing all of these sugyas tomorrow and beyond. Everybody should have a beautiful Matzah Shabbos, Shavua Tov Mevarach, and we will see you tomorrow.